What made America's golden voice become the center of Hollywood's most explosive love scandals? Linda Ronstadt, a symbol of freedom, passion, and, yes, rebellion. Once the queen of the stage, but behind the spotlight, were stormy romances with Mick Jagger, Jim Carrey, and Vegas nights that were never aired again. Why was a legendary star thrown off stage in the middle of a performance? What really happened behind the scenes? Don't take your eyes off the screen after we show you some rare photos and untold stories about Linda Ronstadt. Before we dive into the story, let's take a moment to explore her early life. Linda Ronstadt, born on July 15, 1946, in Tucson, Arizona, grew up in a deeply musical environment. The third of four siblings, Linda inherited her artistic passion from her father, Gilbert Ronstadt, a man who was not only a talented musician, but also a successful mechanical engineering businessman. From a young age, Linda showed a natural talent and an intense desire to sing. When she expressed her wish to move to Los Angeles to pursue a professional music career, Gilbert felt both proud and concerned about the challenges his daughter would face in the harsh entertainment industry. Still, he didn't hesitate to show his support by gifting Linda his beloved Martin guitar, a symbol of faith and high hopes. "Now that you have your own guitar, you'll never have to worry about putting food on the table," he said, in a message filled with love. That gift became more than just an instrument. It served as a powerful source of inspiration throughout Linda's musical journey. At 14, she formed a small band with her brother Peter and sister Gretchen, performing at local coffee houses and college events. Fueled by a desire to blend folk music with rock and roll, Linda made the bold decision to leave the University of Arizona and dive headfirst into the music scene in Los Angeles in 1965. By the late 1970s, Linda Ronstadt had become a music icon. Her album Simple Dreams soared to the top of the Billboard charts, and her voice was described as a ribbon wrapped around a flame, both tender and intense. At the same time, Mick Jagger was in the most wild and chaotic phase of his life, caught between endless tours, parties, and non-stop scandals. They first met at a backstage party following a Rolling Stones concert in Los Angeles. Linda wore a wine-colored leather jacket, her hair flowing freely, with a defiant gaze. Mick was instantly drawn to her, not because she was some sweet, innocent muse, but because she was the exact opposite, free-spirited, sharp, and completely unfazed by the aura of a rock and roll king. Their early encounters were kept under wraps. No paparazzi, no drama, just two artists talking for hours about music, politics, and the loneliness behind the spotlight. Mick, who had won over countless hearts, told friends that Linda made him lose control. Meanwhile, Linda confided in her family that being with Mick felt like living inside an unfinished rock song, full of highs, lows, and unpredictability. But two blazing flames can't burn together forever. Mick's impulsive nature, along with a life steeped in parties, drugs, and other women, made it impossible for Linda to stay. They broke up after nearly a year together, but Linda never called it a failure. "That was a chapter of my life, written in sleepless nights, guitars, and unrestrained laughter," she once said in an interview. In the 1990s, Linda Ronstadt entered a vibrant new chapter filled with reflection. She began singing Mexican music, reconnecting with her Latin roots, and living a more private life. But it was during this quieter period that fate brought Jim Carrey. A rising star known for his zany roles but troubled personal life, into hers. Linda met Jim at a fundraising event for an environmental organization in Santa Barbara. At the time, Jim had just made waves with Ace Ventura and The Mask, while Linda was already a seasoned legend. Nearly 2 decades apart in age, they connected on a deeper level, through their shared sensitivity and desire to break free from Hollywood's mold. Jim showed up in a simple yet quirky tuxedo, accented by a bright floral tie. Linda stood quietly in a corner of the room, deep in conversation with young activists. They didn't meet under the spotlight, but in a quiet moment, both reaching for a glass of white wine instead of champagne. Their first conversation was about climate change, but within minutes it shifted to Kierkegaard, the Beatles, and why people tend to laugh when they're sad. Jim wasn't drawn to Linda because of her fame, but because of her calm presence and deep life experience. Linda, in turn, saw in Jim a youthful, conflicted soul, always torn between sorrow and laughter. In the early days of their relationship, they cruised the California coast in a convertible, singing ballads and stopping at tiny seaside cafes where no one recognized them. A rare and precious feeling for both. Jim once took Linda to a film studio at midnight, just to show her the behind-the-scenes of a Batman Forever shoot. Linda, never much impressed by Hollywood glamour, burst out laughing like a child when she saw Jim transformed into the Riddler, a moment that led her to tell a close friend, "He's not just an actor. He's a kid playing dress-up in a grown-up world." Their relationship wasn't loud, but it stirred controversy because of the age gap. At the time, the media called Linda the guide for a lost clown, but they ignored the whispers. Linda once said, "I don't love an age. I love eyes that listen and a heart that's never run out of love." Jim, in return, gave her a metaphor-filled poem. "You are a love song written for souls who learned to stay silent before they ever spoke." Still, this love story didn't last. With a fiery artist's spirit and a soaring career, Jim struggled with the kind of stability Linda was seeking. And Linda, having weathered many storms, no longer had the patience to heal a soul so full of cracks. They parted quietly, but held on to the respect they had for one another. Linda Ronstadt was never the kind of female star you could predict. She chose to love without standards, to walk away without regret, and to live as her full self, whether under dazzling stage lights or in the quiet shadows of her private life. Mick Jagger represented the wild, instinctual, rebellious side of Linda. Jim Carrey was her emotional connection, the soulful current of a seasoned Linda. Neither became her final destination, but both were vital chapters in her journey of loving, living, and singing. In a late interview after stepping away from the stage, Linda once said, "Love isn't a destination. It's the song you sing at sunrise, whether solo or a duet. It's beautiful if it's honest." And perhaps it was those kinds of relationships, fleeting, intense, but sincere, that helped shape Linda Ronstadt into someone both relatable and extraordinary. An artist who never stood still, who never let anyone define her, who always sang with a heart bruised by the very love that made her so human. As Linda Ronstadt's voice gradually quieted after decades of mastering every genre, from rock and country to traditional Mexican music and opera, what remains isn't just Grammy Awards or platinum records. It's a timeless legacy, the voice of a woman who never accepted limits. In an industry often unkind to strong women, Linda forged her own path, uncompromising, unbending to trends. Parkinson's disease may have silenced her voice, but Linda's music still echoes in the memories of millions, like a song that never fades. And even without her voice, she still speaks, through courage, through sharing her illness and inspiring those fighting their own battles. For Linda Ronstadt, music was never just sound. It was identity. It was a journey home. It was the way a girl from Arizona told the story of an entire generation. And maybe that's why, looking back, we don't just see a diva. We see a true artistic soul, unafraid to love, to sing, and to live authentically. If you're moved by Linda Ronstadt's soulful voice and legendary musical journey, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to join us as we uncover more untold stories in the episodes ahead. This journey is just getting started.